I know you guys are excited as I am to have my friend and yours, Billy Amendola, on the line here with us. How you doing, Billy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good, good. But thanks for being here, man. I was thinking, I think last time I saw you, I believe I saw you at NAMM this year, didn't I?
Yeah, yep, that was in January, and it's like I can't believe today I was at the bank and I had to fill out some papers, and it was like I wrote down the 16th, and I was like 6/16. I was like, oh my God,
Time just flies by right now, man. It is nuts. It's crazy.
it's scary how
I know, I know. Well, I wanted to tell everybody how we first met because it's really special to me, Billy. You and I first met in 2011 at Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp with Sammy Hagar out there in Los Angeles. And you were there representing Modern Drummer magazine and just had such a great time chatting with you. And we've kept in touch over all of these years. And you've been so supportive of the foundation. For years, you guys would send us all kind of swag that we would throw out at the shows for Drumathon and different things. And so I just want to say thank you from myself and from the foundation for your support all these years, man.
you're welcome. I got to say, I was watching a little bit of it. God bless Christy, and God bless you. This is a very powerful podcast.
Thank you.
It's you're helping a lot of people, and that there's nothing better than that.
Well, thank you so much, Billy. It's been really cool. When we started this during COVID, and we were talking just now about how really great things can come from really bad things. And this is one of the great things that came out of COVID because we have been able to reach a lot of people who feel lost and alone in their diagnosis. And when they're able to go through some of the stories on our channels, they don't feel as alone anymore, and they don't feel as scared. So yeah, I'm really proud that we're able to do this, and grateful for Christy and all of our guests that we've had on. It's been very, very, very cool. All right, man.
No, it's a good thing.
Yeah, thank you. I want to be sure because the coolest thing about folks like you that I have on these shows is learning how you first got into drumming. I always find that fascinating to hear that story. You want to tell us a little bit about how you first got into drumming and long ago, like me?
Yeah, long time ago. Well, actually, it's the same old story from anyone from my generation, of course, who was seeing the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. And once I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, I wanted to be a different Beatle every day. And then eventually, I was 7 years old at the time. And then by the time I was 10, I decided I wanted to play the drums. And that's all I wanted to do. I
Uh-huh.
didn't, I started to learn to play the guitar, but I always just wanted to play the drums.
Were your
And
parents
Ringo,
super?
Dino Danelli, all those guys, seeing
Uh-huh.
them on TV, big influence.
That's very cool. Were your parents super supportive of your drumming?
Yes, that's the big thing. Even when I do my interviews, I try to thank all the parents all the time because
Yeah, that's a
drums is
commitment.
not an easy. I'm still trying to convince parents to let their kids play drums.
Man, and you should try it with, when you're dealing with women and my generation and earlier, it was really kind of frowned upon. It's like, that's not a women's thing. And even like, I think like 2 weeks ago, my dad even said she should have played the flute, because it was just too much crap to carry around.
Well,
Because
yeah,
he's
my
helped
dad
me.
always said that. He played the trombone. He
Uh,
wanted me to play trombone. I didn't want it. It made my lip feel like it was swollen all the time.
yeah,
He
yeah.
was like, well, then why don't you play the saxophone? All you got to do is carry a little case. You could walk in 5, 10 minutes before the gig, wet your reed, and you're ready to go. You want to carry all that stuff? I was like, I'm going to have roadies.
That's right. We're going to be huge and have roadies. Of course. That's awesome. So, how old were you when you first got in like your garage band?
When I started playing, I was at 10. I started to like really learn to play. I started to take some lessons, and then by 12, I was already playing in bands. And then by the time I was 14, 15, I was the youngest in the band, so I was already like going away for the weekends and pretty much touring the tri-state area. And talk about like I think about now what I put my mom through because she would say, make a collect call when you get there. Let me know where you are. And the whole weekend would go by. I wouldn't call. And,
Oh gosh, and
so
she's like worried or yeah.
yeah, I mean, I could just imagine, but they they put up with it and they were supportive.
That's really, really cool. And so you went straight out from, playing at home and playing out at bars and things like that and continued to grow. And then you had, what would you say, like, out of all the things I was looking through everything that you've done, it's just amazing. I told Billy earlier, guys, that it's going to be hard to make this interview short because he's got such a cool career. But what was the moment where you're like, wow, this is huge? I know the Debbie Gibson thing and some other things, but tell me, when was the big moment for you?
Probably the biggest moment in my music career was the first time that I sat in with Ringo and the All Stars. And that was the first time I did that was 10 years ago. And then I did it a couple of years ago again here in New York. And I played percussion with the All Stars for the encore. And then the next day, it's like all of a sudden I was great. Everybody was calling me. They wanted to hire me for sessions. They wanted, I was like, I'm the same person that's been around all these years. But, I guess when you're playing with a Beatle, it definitely adds something.
Yeah, it's like the doors flung open for you when that happened, huh?
Yeah, that I mean that there's a lot of highlights, but that's one of them. And hanging out with Prince, and then speaking of Prince,
Uh-huh.
I got to know him really well through John Blackwell, who you met. That's how
Yeah.
we met
Yep, at the Rock
um,
and Roll Fantasy Camp
at the fantasy
2011.
camp
Yep.
when I was hosting the
Sweet guy.
the drum class that day. It was John Blackwell, and then we lost John to brain cancer
Yep.
a year after we lost Prince. So that just it's just
So much, man. It's heavy.
yeah. And
Yeah.
Xavier Muriel from Buck Cherry, he was there.
Oh, yep. Yep.
And Fred Curry from Cinderella, who
Stayed
you
in touch
mentioned
with
Debbie
him.
Gibson. He produces Debbie Gibson now.
So amazing. Yeah, Fred, that's another person who's got this really cool career of all kinds of different things going on, like writing music for sports venues and things, and just
Oh, Fred,
all
yeah.
kind of and like television shows. And that guy is one busy guy. Like somebody might just be like, "Oh yeah, Fred Curry, he's the drummer from Cinderella," and that's all they know. But there's way more to Fred than just
Oh,
that,
yeah.
man. So much
Yeah.
more. So much
Yeah.
more. He's an
He's a great
inspiration.
guy. He's a
Yeah.
really nice guy.
Totally, totally. So the Debbie Gibson thing, I want you to tell everybody though, because coming out of just saying, hey, you were influenced by Ringo Starr and the Beatles, and that's what made you want to play drums, and then full circle moment, you're up there on stage with Ringo and the All Star Band. How did that come to be? How did you end up in that seat?
Well, I met Ringo, David Fishoff at one time. He's the one who put the All Stars together back in the day. He was kind of managing Ringo at the time, and this is how he started the All Stars. This is way before that he was involved with the camp, and me and David did some work together, and then he introduced me to Ringo, and then little by little. I just kind of became friends with Ringo. We just kind of hit it off. I mean, I've interviewed him so many times, and then little by little, he probably took 10 years to know my name. So he used to have all these nicknames for me, but he would always recognize my face. Sometimes people would say, "Hey, do you know Billy Amendola?" And he'd go, I don't know Billy Amendola." And then he would see me, he goes, "Oh, you." So finally, then I've been celebrating. I was fortunate enough to work with Elizabeth Freud, that's Ringo's main person. And she was working for David Fishoff back in the day. So it all kind of gelled. And then him and David kind of had a falling out. So uh, Ringo still, does his All Stars. And I became friends with him little by little. And then he would invite me places, and then I've been celebrating his birthday with him since he was 70. So I've
Wow.
been almost every single year since he was 70. I celebrated his birthday, and I'll be celebrating his birthday this coming July 7th,
Uh huh.
where we do our peace and love.
Nice.
And he's going to be 86.
That's
So
so crazy. Do you
Yeah.
just like,
So
do you find yourself just like pinching yourself about this whole thing?
You know,
You know?
I still do at times because a Beatle is a Beatle. You know, we all have that. You know, there's everybody. To me, you know, and everybody says this. There's the Beatles, and then there's everybody else. You know, so no matter how many times, sometimes I forget. You know, I could be fooling around, and then I say, "Oh shit, did I just? Oh, sorry, did I
You're fine.
did I just say something I shouldn't have said or
Right.
whatever?" And then,
Uh-huh.
but he likes to bust chops just as much. He's a very funny guy,
That's so cool, man. Just to be
and
able to say,
he's really, I mean, he's really down to earth. I
uh
mean, all of those guys. I met John. Um, I said hello to Paul, but I didn't really meet him. George, I almost met. I went to sound check, but he was late, so I didn't get to meet him. But I mean, what those guys went through and how they are with their fans is still pretty amazing. You know, they're still pretty much down to earth when you consider who they are and what they did. You know, and it's that impressed me more than anything else.
yeah, I was sitting here thinking, when when you said that, just like a lot of other people, it was the Ed Sullivan Show that really sparked your interest in drumming. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've heard that. It would be cool to see like what percentage of drummers from that era that saw that and got motivated to play. I just know it was so many that I can't imagine the impact. It really changed the landscape probably of drumming, as far as like so many new drummers spawned just from that one performance, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And
nuts,
if you
man.
watch, and then if you watch, you know, they remastered and remixed and digitized all the footage. If you watch that Washington concert,
Oh
my
yeah.
God, that's one of his most amazing. Well, all of them,
Uh-huh.
but for Ringo, oh my God, that's one of his most. I mean, that's when he proved to the world. You still had your doubters. You know, in modern drummer, I used to get annoyed at people because, you know, everybody Ringo wasn't respected like he should have been in the, you know, because he made everything look easy. People didn't realize though, like, you know, She Loves You. It was a punk rock beat. You know, he was playing a punk rock beat before punk came out. You know, so there's so many things that he invented. And as far as playing for a song, I mean, nobody came up with better
You're
parts than he
so
did.
right. Well, that's the thing, is so many people fixate on, I mean, obviously like Neil Peart and Mike Portnoy and stuff like that. That's a whole other thing. But people who play to the song, that's something that people don't get enough credit for. And just the unique, like it makes me think of John Bonham. Like John Bonham. I mean, a lot of people realize how great he was, but it was because he could lay it down, and his grooves were so unique. And it's the same thing with Ringo. He would come up with such unique drum parts, and that's really cool. And it didn't take away from the song; it just added to it. It just
Right.
sort of emphasized the song as it was. So
Yeah.
I love
And,
that,
and,
man.
and he had three of the greatest songwriters in the world.
Right.
So, you know, he doesn't like, I called him a session musician one time, and he doesn't like that. But to me, he is the ultimate session musician. He doesn't like to look at it that way, but when you think about it, he is the ultimate session musician, because even most of the major session players will credit Ringo as one of the greatest drummers.
Yeah, yeah. I think I've heard Kenny Aronoff say that before, and many
Yep.
people. I mean, it's true. It's a fact. Wow. I know we could spend the whole rest of the time talking about
Yeah,
Beatles
no,
and
and
Ringo
Prince
Starr, but
and Prince, he was a great drummer.
that
You know,
those people that can do it all, man, they make me mad.
oh my
Like
God,
the
yeah,
Dave
yeah,
Grohls of the world, people like that, just like
yeah.
pick up any instrument and just like master it. It's like, oh my God, I wish I could be like that. And that's Prince was that a million times
Well, you know,
over.
nowadays it's good for the younger generation. They don't play just one instrument. I think everybody should start on drums, and then from there you move on, because nowadays the way the music business is, you know, I highly recommend trying to do as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, that's totally solid. Yeah, and especially, I mean, nowadays you can do so many things online where you're playing all the instruments or whatever, and recording, and I mean, you have everything's at your fingertips anymore. You're not like necessarily waiting for that record label to call you up and sign you. It's more about gaining traction on the magical interwebs through all the different channels that you can, and putting your music out there. And you can do that for a living on your own if you work hard. That's one thing that's consistent between every drummer I've ever taught to is they have that hard work ethic, and now it's at your fingertips. If you have that hard work ethic and you utilize all the different avenues that are available to you, you can really take yourself somewhere. It's so cool, man.
Yeah, and
Um,
YouTube. I mean,
yeah,
God, there's such an advantage with everything that I mean. You could learn any instrument on YouTube.
I know, it's
It's good
crazy.
to go to a teacher because you need that. You also learn about life lessons,
Yeah,
and but you can start. Using that as a tool, and you're on your phone. All the younger generation, they live on their phone and their computer. So, you know, learn to play, play music, and
totally.
it's good for the brain. We're finding out that
Oh gosh,
health
yeah.
wise, it's important, and I've learned a lot about that from Raven Drum Foundation.
Well, hey, that is an excellent segue because I was just going to get to talking about some of the nonprofit work you've done. And I want to be sure to come back to, I believe it was called Music Will that you were working with.
Mhm.
But Raven Drum Foundation, founded by Rick Allen of Def Leppard, right?
Yes, and his wife Lauren Monroe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been around 25 years, and I've known Rick. God, probably about 30 years. I've been friends with Rick, and in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been very involved with the Raven Drum Foundation. It's a great cause, and
Yeah.
it's and the best thing about it is Lauren. She's a healer, and she studies so much, and now everybody's studying about how important music actually is for your brain, for growing, for dementia, and
Or just as a
just so
therapy.
music therapy is just very important. And she always been preaching that, and everybody's like, she makes a joke like, a family say, yeah, that woo woo stuff, but it's coming true. it's it,
Yeah,
it's very helpful.
totally.
And Rick knows he went through it. So
Right.
if it wasn't for first responders, because we raise money for first responders and veterans, if it wasn't for a first responder just happening to be there when he had that awful crash, he wouldn't be here with us right now.
That's right. So tell everybody a little bit about like I've seen some videos and different things about Raven Drum Foundation, so I'm familiar with them. But a lot of the people watching right now or listening may not be. Talk a little bit about what Raven Foundation does. Raven Drum Foundation.
Well, what we do is we try to help anybody with PTSD and suicide prevention, because I never realized how many veterans commit suicide a day. I mean, it's the numbers are astronomical. It's just it blew my mind, um, because these people, what they go through in a war, who thinks about that? You don't think about that. um, Even firefighters and policemen, it's very
Yeah,
traumatizing what they go through. So we try to help as much as we can, and we try to raise funds. So there's always fundraisers. The last couple of years we did a couple of shows here in New York. I think this one is possibly going to be towards the end of the year in California. We're going to do one in California, but throughout the year, drum circles, and everybody gets to play, and everybody gets to speak, and you hear stories from people, and it's like, if you just, I mean, because you went through a lot and you survived. It's if you don't have the support and people behind you, it's hard to survive. You have to be with people who, like you're doing, like you did with Chrissy. Somebody, to go through something is one thing, but until you're like really involved in it and you realize what it is, it's nice to talk to people about it, and try to help. That's the main thing. It's my way of giving back. It's fortunately there's a lot of people, a lot of famous rock stars, because Rick, Def Leppard is one of the biggest bands in the world. Um, so everybody that we have involved with Raven, as far as the drummers, I'm sort of the A&R person. When we put the shows together, I'm the music director. They all come out and they want to help and support,
that's what's
and
so
that's
cool about
basically what we
drummers. man.
What we do, yeah,
Yeah,
drummers. I
the
mean,
best.
we have that thing where we all know, but more and more people, when there's a whole bunch of drummers together, if they're an outsider, they'll all comment about, my God, I've never been in a room like this with all I've been in rooms with guitar players. It's never been like this. I mean, I love guitar players, but it's just drummers. I don't know. It's a certain thing about drummers.
Yeah, it's like when we do our drumathon event, it's like the camaraderie between drummers and just that giving attitude and just wanting to help. It's just so
Yeah.
many super duper supportive people out there that just want to make a difference and make people smile and make lives better for folks. So
Yeah,
that is really cool, man.
and like Rick's a drummer, I'm a drummer, you're a drummer, so we gravitate more towards drummers. Um, but it's a good thing. I mean, drumming is a good thing, and it's a good way to get frustrations out at times if you don't have a punching bag.
I used to always say, I'm glad I played drums because me and my brother, were always growing up fighting. And I was like, I can't hit my brother, but I can hit my drums. Just go back there and do that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it. I've got a lot of friends that are with police departments, and you were talking about how, you don't really think about, what kinds of things veterans see, in wars or, different things or, first responders see. And one of my best friends is a captain with a police department here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And, she'll tell me some of the stuff that she sees, like she's talking about, what she's having for dinner because she's just seen so much. And, that's got such a profound effect on them in the background. I know that she's talked about before how she gets desensitized a little bit,
Right.
and you kind of have to get brought back into reality and realize, hey, these are real people. And, obviously certain scenarios, there's no way but to get brought into it. If I remember she told me about an elderly person who had been abused or something one time and just certain awful, awful things. But it's so good that they have the Raven Drum Foundation to help folks out with that. So it's really cool that you're a part of that. It's something really to be proud of, man.
Yeah, no, I'm honored, really. I'm honored, and it's if anybody wants any, if there's videos and everything, you go to ravendrumfoundation.org, and there's a whole bunch of videos. You can donate at any time. You can be entertained. So check it out,
Yeah, totally. And if you guys
and
ever want to,
check out, and the breast cancer can stick it dot
yeah,
org.
yeah. Yep, we got that going on too, man. Always out there helping people, and that's what's so cool about. There's a couple of other organizations that are drum centric that are helping folks, and I just love taking that passion for music and drumming and turning it into a way to help folks. And speaking of which, you were part of, like we were talking about a minute ago, Music Will, which I think was used to be called Little Kids Rock.
Yes, I was more involved when it was Little Kids Rock because I worked with David Wish, who was the founder. He just recently stepped down, and Mike Wasserman now is the CEO. So I'm kind of like, I'm still like part of it. But I think they just reached like 1.3 million kids that they put through schools in education, money for education in the schools. So it's an amazing thing. Now it's gotten bigger, and the reason why it went from Little Kids Rock to Music Will is it's not just kids anymore. Now it's also corporate people. It just grew. So they felt that as David was stepping down, now it's hard to change a brand. It's really hard to change a brand, but it seems to be slowly now people know, formerly Little Kids Rock, Music Will. Great organization, and that's to help put education back into the schools and keep it in the schools. So that's the future there for people learning. And David Wish just came up with this little zip kit that he has, and he's putting them in as many schools as possible.
That's so
It's a
cool.
little portable, tiny little kit that you just carry like in a backpack.
Oh wow, I got to see that. I've seen a lot of different kits like that. I know Toka has
Yeah,
something, and
lately more and more. This one's pretty cool. I love it because I well, I was there from the prototype days with Liberty DeVito, and a couple of us had helped him, just give him ideas. Um, but I love it as I use it to make loops
That's cool.
because it sounds like drums, but not really.
Right.
So it's pretty cool. But you can definitely learn to play drums, and in the school, in the classroom, you can have 10 people playing them. Because let's face it, in school, everybody wants to play the drums.
Heck yeah.
So, and it could only be one drummer, and then they stick you on, okay, you're gonna do the cymbals,
Right.
you know, you're gonna do the bass drum, it's
Right.
like,
You're like, this is lame, man.
yeah, yeah. Everybody wants to play the
Drum
drums.
set. Yes. Yes. It's funny that you put it that way. When I was in middle school and grade school, they kept trying to get me to join the percussion in school, and I was like, no, I want to play a drum set. Like I had zero interest. I mean, in retrospect, I wish I would have done some of that because you kind of learn some different aspects. But same idea is like I want to play a drum set, man. That's all I want to do.
Right, right. And like you said before, I mean, nowadays women and girls playing drums, I mean, I think I think it's getting close. There might be just as many girl drummers as boys. It's like I see some of these girls, they're amazing. And thank God I was never one that said, I always encouraged, didn't I never looked at it like, oh, it's a girl playing the drums. I understood why parents they weren't crazy about it, but I never said to somebody, oh, you're pretty good for a girl.
Oh
I
my
don't think I've
God,
ever
Billy.
said that in my life.
I've had
You
that said to me so many
yeah,
times. It's so funny, and I think a lot of times they don't mean it the way it sounds,
yeah,
But I've heard that more times than I can count. It's true, and it's cool that you felt like it's more of an equal thing, and that women should be able to play just as much as men. And I mean, like look at Annika now with Rush. I mean,
oh my
so
God,
killer, dude.
she did so well.
Can't wait.
Everybody saw the videos, and everybody saw that night. And I was never a big Rush fan. I appreciate them, but I was never a big Rush Rush fan. But she's like perfect. I mean,
Oh yeah.
she's just like she did her job. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
she was, yeah, and everybody, is happy now, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And it's
Totally.
great for women. And she was one of the forerunners who, like, really a lot of young girls looked up to.
Yeah, it's great to have a role model like that. I mean, especially in such a spotlight as with Rush, and it just reminding women out there, hey, you could do this. I can't tell you how many women I've met that are my age that said they wanted to play drums, but their parents wouldn't let them.
I
It's just like,
know.
God, man. And you know what I tell them, Billy, is I say, it's never too late, man. Get out there and do it because I mean, it's so fun, man. It is. It's so
Can I
so
say one
fun.
thing? And I'll probably, I'm being that I'm not at Modern Drummer anymore, I can say anything I want now.
Yeah,
I always have to
go
be
for it,
careful
man.
with
Let's
what
hear it.
I always have to say. A little hint, though, a little like advice for the girls that are out there playing the drums that have millions of views. Yes, pay attention to the way you dress and the way you film, because just because somebody puts a like on something, you know, they're scrolling fast. So just because you have a million likes and you happen to be a very good looking girl that's dressed kind of inappropriate to be playing on a video, I don't think that that's the way to get your message across.
Yeah, it's sort of like using that aspect of your body to promote, to distract, I guess you could say, from the point of the music, right? And
Yeah,
I know
because
I know
I
what you're
mean,
talking about.
there's some drummers out there, female drummers that are incredible.
Yeah.
They're just incredible. And then you have some drummers, that yeah, they're good, but I don't think that's why they're getting those views.
Right. Yep, I feel you. And it's sort of like,
So I mean,
I mean,
it's just advice. I mean, what
well,
do I
and
know? But
I
it's
mean,
just a piece of advice.
it would go either way if there were men that did that too, and I don't think there really are. But like, I don't want to see a dude in a speedo or anything playing drums. You know what I mean?
Oh, forget it. No, guys would never, they would be writing all over that page in like 2 seconds.
I know. It's so funny, but
Even
yeah,
women, they would be
yeah.
like, "What?"
What is that, man? I don't need to see that. Oh my
Yeah,
God. Well, I've
but
already
that's
go ahead.
but I love the fact that
Yeah,
there's so many girls playing drums now. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
there's so many
Right, right.
great drummers.
Totally, totally. It's been really, really cool. I love watching Dorothea, man. She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's a huge inspiration, and that's another person who I just point to and say, look, man, she's still doing it, and it's never too late. Like if there's anybody watching right now, if you're a woman and you've always wanted to do it, man, go and do it, man. It's
Yeah.
so many different ways to learn now. Drumeo, sign up with Drumeo. God, you could learn so much off of a Drumeo,
Oh yeah,
and just
they're the
amazing.
leaders in education as
Oh
far
yeah,
as education. Drumeo from day one, which was a good thing because I mean, even when I was at Modern Drummer and Drumeo came out, it was never a competition thing because it was a completely different thing, and I kind of supported it because I I liked it. I was like, it's different, and we're already taking care of teaching, but teaching in a different way. That was the new age of now videos, so they got in just perfect time,
oh
and
yeah.
they're good at what they do.
They are
They're
fantastic.
really good at what they do.
Well put together. They have so many fun ideas and how they've got, people, famous drummers playing drums on songs they've never heard before that are huge, and watching that process as a veteran drummer or a beginner drummer is just a
Right.
cool thing to see and learn how people process drumming.
Well, I love when they put somebody behind the kit and they let them play a song that they never heard before.
Right, right.
That was great.
It's
That's
so
great.
fun, so fun. Well, I'm sitting here looking at the time, and I knew it was going to be hard, Billy, but I got to wrap it up with one last thing. You want to tell everybody what you're up to these days?
These days I'm doing I have a brand called Billy's Bubbles, and everything is kind of under that bubble. So I do my podcast, and I've been licensing it out to different people. I did some bunch of shows. I like to do my interviews now as mini docs because podcasts, I'm trying to get away from podcasts because podcast is like after the pandemic, everybody has a podcast show. Everybody's a podcaster because that's what they started doing. So I like to do my interviews as more like mini documentaries. So I did some for I did a bunch 95 shows for Drum Channel after I left Modern Drummer 4 years ago, 5 years ago now I think it is. And I did some stuff for Rock Seller magazine, which didn't have to be drummers, even though I did do a few drummers. Drum Talk TV, I did a couple of things for. So I basically been doing it for myself, and then if I can place it somewhere, I've been placing it somewhere. So, BillyAmendola.com. I just finally got a website. Everybody was like, "How could you not have a website?" I was like, "Well, what do I need a website for?"
Did you just tell them that, hey, I've played with Ringo Starr, get out of my face?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm in the music business, so I'll be working till like Frankie Valley till I die.
It's all good, but I know you love doing all these things. You really
Yeah,
do. I mean,
no,
it's so clear, really.
that's the whole thing about it. When I quit Modern Drummer, after it was sold, it was just it was time for me to go. I was there in its heyday. I know what I did there. Um, once it was sold and print went out of business, it's like it was time to just do my own thing. And everybody when I did say I was leaving, everybody was like, "You're gonna retire?" And I was like, "No, I'm not gonna retire. Why would I retire? I love what I do."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's so cool to watch you just weave through all the different aspects of the music industry and all the super cool things that you've done, Billy. And I'm so appreciative that you were here to
Thank you.
share it with us today and talk about Raven Drum Foundation and all your philanthropic work that you've done. And I think as drummers that we just love doing that kind of stuff. And I just look forward to the next time I get to see you again. I hope it's sooner than later.
Yeah, and you got to let me know when you're coming, to New York or coming east. And I didn't forget, I was just with Peter Chris, and as we all know, Peter had breast cancer, which made a lot of men aware that it can also happen to
Right.
men.
Hmm.
So, he has his thing that he does, but I'll get him for you.
You're awesome. Thanks so much for that. I appreciate it. And I am going to be playing. I think it's in Huntington Beach. I don't know how far that is from where you're at in New York.
Where?
It's I think it's Huntington, not Huntington Beach, Huntington.
Huntington, Long Island, or
I
Huntington?
think it's near Long Island.
That could be
I'll
upstate.
send you the information on it.
Yeah. Because I'm in Staten Island now.
Okay.
2 years ago, I moved to Staten Island, and I bought a new house, built a new studio, and started a new chapter in my life.
Well, that's really cool. I'll totally let you know when I'm up that way. I'm playing in a Pink tribute band, so we're gonna be up there. I think in like
Definitely,
August.
definitely.
So I'll hit you up and we'll have to meet up or something. Go for coffee.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know.
I'll have you here, and I'll have you on my show.
I would love nothing more. Seriously, it'd be an honor. Totally, Billy. Thank you so much for being on the show this evening, man.
My
So
pleasure.
great.
Thank you for what you do for everyone.
Absolutely, man. It's such a great time catching up with you, and I'll talk to you real soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, guys, everybody give it up for Billy Amendola, man. So cool to connect with him and stay connected after all these years, man. The moment I met that guy, I felt like I knew him forever. So, such a pleasure. Guys, I got to get back to my dad tonight. I know you guys heard that I'm caring for my dad right now, so I'm going to cut off here and close out the night. I want to thank you guys all for joining. If you joined late, please watch the replay. Also, remember every Tuesday and Thursday, we'll be launching out these as podcasts to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean. So be sure to subscribe to us on all those different channels. All right. We will see you on July the 7th for Mighty and Metastatic right here. Catch you next time.